I'm filling in for Brock Coulter, John, who's the CEO, who can't be here, so that's my excuse if this isn't as polished as maybe I'd like it to be. But Onyx, we kept it simple. Our ticker is Onyx, ONYX, and we're focused on Ontario. That's the O and the N, and the Yukon, that's the Y, in exploration. We'll be making forward-looking statements. Onyx, really, it was created as a vehicle to liberate our Yukon and Ontario projects at that kind of pointy discovery end of the business. It's the most exciting part of the business. It is the riskiest, but it's definitely the place you create the most value. We've slowly assembled over time a massive land position in the Timmins camp, and we're making brand new greenfields type discoveries in what is a very mature and established camp. We've also got some properties within the Snowline district, I like to call it Eastern Tombstone Gold Belt, that we're advancing as well. So a real nice kind of balance of properties and assets. As a group, we've got a lot of history in this business. We just sold a company earlier this year, High Gold. We know how to make discoveries, we know how to create value from those discoveries, and we know how to raise capital to do what we're doing. We currently are sitting on a hard dollar cash balance of over $2 million. Because we were just created in the last year, our market cap, our share structure is relatively tight. We're under 50 million at 48.5 million shares. Relatively few warrants outstanding, and our market cap as of yesterday was 9.2 million, which we think is great value. If you look at our shareholder registry, we got really a fabulous registry for a company of our size, of our market cap. There's 3 producing gold companies that make up 20% of our shareholder base. Another 20% is to some of the best institutions in the business that often don't come this far down on the food chain, as well as a nice support from high net worth individuals. And that's really, I think, for the retail investor, that's your way of saying this is a company and a group and a plan that's got the endorsement of the real professionals in the business. So, I highlighted that we're really in that discovery phase. It is a risky phase, but it's also the most exciting and the place that gives you the biggest reward by far if you tag into something that's real. The challenge is like, how do you really filter the crop out there? There's a lot of companies looking. You need some good luck along the way. And oftentimes, I think you see these discoveries and you think you missed it, but I'm going to talk for a minute here about kind of an opportunity I think is out there for people to identify discoveries early. There's usually very often a lag in market recognition of some of these very significant discoveries. That includes Snowline, that includes Great Bear. If you go back and look at their early development, they were into these things, and it took the market 6 months, sometimes a year, to really key into that. And so, in my view, one of the best ways to recognize these new discoveries is actually the quality and tenor of drill intersections, or your discovery drill intersection. That's not just your very first hole. It's kind of like the best hole in the first, say, 5,000 meters of drilling, and it's a grade times thickness. So you generally want to see something better than 50 gram meters, better than 75 gram meters is even better, and that's simply taking the grade times the width to give you a product. It's a phenomenal good filter to tell you whether you're in the ballpark. And what we've seen is that doesn't always guarantee you that you're into a significant gold deposit, but if you actually look at past discoveries of, say, plus 2 million ounce gold systems over the last few decades, almost all of them have an intersection like that within there. So it's a great de-risk for an investor to come in and see that, but get in there early before things really take off. There's obviously other factors that come to play to whether elevate that or sort of decrease that in terms of its significance. I call that context. And I'm going to use our sort of discovery, if you will, of the Argus zone as an example. For us, we've got a great intersection that's 90 gram meters or 89.9, compares well against these other discoveries. But we're sitting within a proven district. It's an area that's produced a fabulous amount of gold historically, so it's a good place. You got some confidence. If you find something, you can develop it. We're seeing it's associated with a large footprint. Big gold deposits have good, big geochemical footprints where you can see it may not always be ore grade, but you can see a lot of gold around. And already in a very short time, we've extended this thing over 750 meters by 200 meters. Big productive structures, crustal scale structures are very important. And we've got the added benefit of bonanza grades. We got very high-grade veins historically on the property. There was an incredibly high-grade past producer in the Croesus mine there. So anyhow, that's kind of the drop for you. I'm now going to kind of pull out and then go back into Timmins. So in terms of places to look, the Abitibi, which is in northern Ontario, northern Quebec, this is about 500 kilometers or more east-west, this field of view here, has produced over 90% of Canada's gold, so there's a hell of a lot of gold in this part of the crust. Within that region, the Timmins camp stands head and shoulders above all the rest. All that is to say it's a very well-endowed part of the Earth's crust for gold mineralization, and these squiggly lines you see on those are the big crustal scale structures that the gold fluids seem to like to come up. We are sitting in the Timmins area. I took this photo a couple of years back flying over Timmins, and it's just a phenomenal amount of metal in this field of view. We see something called the Giant Mine Corridor, and we're just off the right side of this image on that trend. It really is a fabulously rich area. But more than just being gold endowed, it comes with power and people and excess milling capacity. This is a very good place to make and develop a gold deposit. You're also likely to get paid the biggest premium by the seniors in these types of environments. And you can look at Great Bear or Cisco, a sort of recent $2 billion plus transaction that kind of prove that up. So what we've done with Onyx is we've really tried to position ourselves to be the go-to explorer in this camp. This is a map that the field of view is about 100 kilometers east-west. So each one of these big properties, we've got 3 major properties, they're over 20 kilometers east-west and 20 kilometers north-south. They're big, beefy chunks of land, which is very difficult to do in these very mature, established mining camps where they've been producing for over 100 years. I'm going to focus in now on Munro Croesus. So this is an area we've actually done, I think, 27 or 28 deals now to consolidate the land. We grew from basically about a square kilometer to over 100 square kilometers in land here. On our southeast border, there's a 3 to 4 million ounce deposit sitting right on our border. On our southwest border, there's 3 million ounces sitting there in the McEwen Mining Complex. So there's clearly gold around in this area. Our whole approach here has been going into underexplored parts of Timmins, areas that have been looked over for one reason or another. It's good geological or exploration real estate, but it's gone underexplored. And so our focus here, the namesake property here was Croesus Mine. It was fabulously high grade, incredibly rich samples. It was founded in 1909, and there was a staking rush that followed that. Well, everyone then thought they maybe had a piece of the Croesus mine, and they hung on to that land after one generation, the next generation, the next generation. So we spent the last 5 years tracking down old family estates and owners to consolidate this land with the view that it was a good place to be exploring. And now we've got about a year under our belt exploring, and we're into 2 new discoveries. One is very high grade, looking for a Croesus look-alike. It's called the GM vein. The other is the Argus zone, which is a big bulk tonnage thing. And there's a whole pipeline of other prospects here as well to chase up. So just walk you through the Argus zone. We did this land assembly, started in 2019. Really, it's still ongoing. We were able to do systematic kind of compilation and prep work to better understand the targets here. And this was all done while it was in another company as a second-tier asset to the main company, so we could spend our time doing it properly. We actually made a discovery intersection in 2022, but it went unnoticed. It was over 130 meters of over a half gram, and we've steadily been progressing and advancing, finding the deposit or the system getting richer and richer as we go to the west, where we now have multiple intersections, better than a gram, tens of meters in width, that are showing all the signature of being associated with the large bulk tonnage type system. Our latest results that just came out last week was a 48-meter intersection of just shy of 1.9 grams. This is very material for us. It's open. It's open along strike. It's open to the north. It's open in basically every direction, and it's already associated with other tens of meters of a gram. So this is a great start for us. We're really excited about it, but it is very early days yet, and it's really the earliest days, even though we've been at it for a couple of years, and we're looking to get back drilling here before the year is out. Just to touch on some of the high-grade systems around us, or that we've been finding, this is the GM vein. We made a discovery intersection that was over 10 ounces. It was over about a foot. It was relatively narrow, but spectacular high-grade gold. We went and did a follow-up program, very shallow, all within the upper 50 meters of surface, and lots of 10, 20, 50-gram intersections coming out of that, out of a brand new vein system. So very excited to see what that has at depth. So that's Timmins. Come talk to us to learn more about Timmins at our booth. I will spend just a minute here talking about the Yukon. We love the Yukon as well. We've got a very large land position up there, very well positioned next to Snowline. And there we're looking for bulk tonnage systems. They're intrusion related. Snowline has to be the biggest success. And, last year it was a massive success. They've already defined over 7 million ounces in very short order. We have very analogous looking properties. Zooming in on the King Tut here, we have 2 intrusions. They're separated by about 9 kilometers. Big golden soil systems. We did a very small drill program last year where we hit gold in every hole, but didn't hit it out of the park. But we realized we were just on the very edge of one of these intrusions. So we're doing more work this year on the ground. We had 2 fly camps there, collecting samples, extending our soil grids. Part of that was following up on the Weiss claims. We had a donut hole that was missing. We acquired that from Snowline Gold, which covers the core intrusion on the main Tut area. And so we got out on that one too, and we really like it. I mean, the story with these intrusion-related guys is sheeted veins that carry gold, and what we did here is just show Snowline's sheeted veins at their known deposit and other prospects and compared them to ours, and it doesn't guarantee we're going to have the same system, but it sure is nice to see. That's what you want to see, these kind of gold systems. We throttled back a little this year. Just Yukon had some challenges this year, broadly speaking, not specific to us. So we thought we'd spend the time collecting the data and ready ourselves for drilling next year. But you get a nice 1-2 with the company. Timmins, we're into a new discovery, kind of massive land position. Couldn't ask for better jurisdiction in terms of old school jurisdiction. And I think Timmins, or in Yukon, you get kind of the new school or new discovery environment. Sitting on good cash and lots of news flow ahead, and should be drilling again here before the snow flies. Thank you very much.